Thanks for being here and tuning into the session, and thanks to Data Analytics for the public sector for having me. I have the great opportunity to present with Lena Gomes, who's going to share a success story with you. Before that, I'm just going to get started and set the stage. My name's Don Murray, the founder of Save Software, a Canadian company. Go Jays! Been doing this for 30 years. 20,000 customers around the world. So we've spent our whole career working with data, and I love data, and the world of data only gets more exciting as time goes on. So we're going to talk about the power of choice and why that's important for future-proofing your technology strategy. So first of all, a story. A Save Software story. I love stories. So about 15 years ago, we had this great idea. We were going to get one system to rule them all. We were going to put everything in it. Our CRM, it was our partners, it was our training, it was our community. We even figured we would put HR in there. And because we talked to the vendor when we were buying, and they assured us that all these modules we were using were going to stay as state-of-the-art. Make a long story short, definitely did not happen that way. We found that we were using, in many cases, the laggards in the industry, and so we wanted to get out of this. So as I were figuring out how to get out of this, I noticed in the contract there was a line item I was paying for a competitor's tool, and I called him up and said, "This is an insult. We're not going to use it." And he says, "Well, I can remove it, but it's going to cost you more money to remove it," because he explained it was kind of like one of these cable TV deals. And so anyway, more motivation to leave. What did we do wrong? Well, we gave up our choice. So because whenever you make an enterprise decision, you're making it not just for today, you're making it for 5 and 10 years. You need to pick a solution that's going to allow you to continue to grow. If there's one thing we know in the world of technology, it's changing fast. It's changing faster than ever. And so with the decision we made, we gave up our ability to evolve. And we were using, in some cases, the worst of breed tool, not the best of breed tool. So, we did get out of that, obviously. Now we have a whole bunch of small tools that are focused on one particular thing, and we just happen to have some technology that's what we do. We connect systems. Anyway, and now you think about today, and today, I've been doing this for 30 years. Today, change is happening faster than ever before. I'm one of those people who love change, and I have a team around me to do the change management. Because I'm not good at change management. I'm just really good at change. But even for me, the pace of change now is on the edge of being scary, right? And so it's like you wake up every day, you read, your favorite Reddit group or whatever, and it's nothing but change. And so the thing that, that's most important is we don't even know what we're going to have to choose about in next year, 5 years, 10 years. And so we have to do whatever we can to protect what I think is the most important factor that for all organizations that want to thrive, so whether you're public service or you're in the private sector, to thrive, you need to protect that ability to choose. You just think about the database market, how it's changed in 30 years. And that's just one area. Have we been here before? When we talk about the AI revolution, a lot of people say, "Have we been here before?" And some people say, "It's like the internet." I think it's bigger than the internet. Some people in the area, it's like Google Earth. We all remember Google Earth because we all zoomed into our house to see, we wanted to look at our house. It's much bigger than Google Earth. I'd say if anything comes close, it's probably the Industrial Revolution. We can think of the Industrial Revolution as the big muscle multiplier, right? Replacing muscle with machine. We still measure things in horsepower. Oh, that car has 1,000 horsepower. But that's all that was about, was taking physical energy that was measured in terms of biological to machines. And when we think about the AI revolution, I know I'm going to be driving them crazy because I'm a walker, and the Industrial Revolution they both needed power. So the Industrial Revolution was all about steam, right? How can we make steam to drive things? And then electricity. And it's like the power socket is like the universal thing that the Industrial Revolution gave us. We all have the same socket in the wall. Now it's data centers. Yes, data centers need electricity, so that's a completely different challenge. But this is so much money is being put in data centers. and GPUs. You have to wonder if it's going to be like the dot-com bubble when you had all the fiber, but it's super exciting. The other thing they both needed is materials. The Industrial Revolution, it was coal and iron to make steel, and then a whole bunch of other raw materials. For the AI revolution, it's one thing: data. Data is the raw material, and it's really quite simple. No data, no AI revolution. You use data both to train the AI, and you use data, that's what the AI operates on. So you cannot talk about AI without talking about data. And if you look at your favorite, leading database, they all now have AI in them, right? We are the Data and AI platform. We renamed our conference to be the Peak of Data and AI, because you just cannot talk about data without talking about AI, and you can't talk about AI without talking about data. They're inseparable. And in this fast-paced world, you need the ability to choose. You would never just lock into one AI because you don't even know what's coming next week, never mind next year. Right now, the big talk is on LLMs, but we're already starting to see small language models that have been trained on one particular area. Our legal department uses one that's been trained in BC and Canadian law. And you would never use an LLM for that because it would be pulling, legal stuff from all over. So we have to avoid the lock-in trap. Rapid change is a certainty. There's nothing we can do about that. It's going to continue. And so in this environment, choice is necessary to pivot, to change your mind. You make a decision, and then hindsight is like, with the way things are going, wow, that was the wrong decision. I need to change. That happens. To adapt, to embrace new technologies as they come out. So if there's one thing you remember from my part of this talk, do not give away your choice. Protect that. And then when it comes to data, there's many different kinds of choice that you have. Like the first one's data velocity. You want to be able to choose the ability to process the data when you want to process it at the speed of data. Apply your AI at the speed of data. So you want to do batch, event-based, high-velocity data streams. Location. You need to be able to decide where you want the data, and then process it there. Believe it or not, the cloud does go down sometimes. Thank you. And it doesn't matter where you put your data. Things can go wrong. So we have lots of organizations who they'll have backups of their data, critical data on-prem. You're in an airport, the internet you lose power, you lose the internet. There's planes in the air. You cannot just say, whoa, just, just circle for a few hours, it'll all be good. And there's many organizations that are like that. They decide where they put the data, and so you should pick tools that allow you to decide where you put the data. You're very smart. You're all smart people. You know your business. You know where the data should be. That's where you should put it. Data type. This is critical. Today, in AI, we hear the term multimodal. That just means data type. So now, the world of unstructured data is largely solved. We have customers who are scanning image of handwritten documents that date back to 1907 to pull out information using AI. And the price is crazy cheap. The choice of AI. What is the best AI? Depends. That's one answer in technology you can always say. Somebody says, what's the best? If you always say depends, they go, yeah, you're right, it depends. In this case, it depends on the data, and it depends on the problem you're trying to solve. And then you look at all the factors. That one I talked about, scanning 2 million handwritten notes. The AI they picked was Gemini, cost them 200 pounds. I make the joke, my daughter cost me more than 200 pounds on her cell bill when she was overseas. Like anybody can afford that. So it's essentially free. And so with that, I'm going to hand it off to Lena Gomes, who's going to talk to us about how they used FME to solve the data type problem, where they were able to choose and use the data types that they had to solve their problems. So
thank you. Oh, sorry, that was loud. Okay, so Don was talking about data and location. Well, in my world, location means almost something completely different. Yeah, there's location where you store it in the cloud, on-prem, whatever, in a table. But in my world, it's where are you on the Earth? X, Y. We're a geospatial company. I've been in GIS for a very long time. And Everybody knows Google Maps. Google Maps, right? All the data behind Google Maps is spatial, geospatial. It's attached to attribute data. It could be in related tables. It could be in spatial tables. And those spatial tables take up so much space and take forever to process. And so many people still do a lot of that work manually. And FME just comes in and saves the world. So FME is a safe software tool, feature manipulation engine, and it really is a godsend in a lot of what we do today in the geospatial world. So every point, everywhere you move on a map has an XY coordinate. That becomes a record in a table. And those tables just exponentially grow as that database grows, as those routes grow on a Google map, and the data can just get out of control really, really fast. So you need something to help you manage that data, and I've been using FME for years because it happens to be one of the best tools to manage a lot of data and between different platforms and different software and different databases. It really does help you do what you need to do. So my organization is PlanView Utility Services Limited, and we are a trusted partner to hundreds of utility infrastructure owners across Ontario. We have clients across North Our We are a Canadian-based company of roughly 300 team members. Our team, we're a broad team. We have design and engineering departments. We have our geospatial services department, which is the department that I manage. Survey and inspection, subsurface, utility engineers, damage prevention applications is what we cover. Sorry, I almost forgot about this. So this is a story about innovation and efficiency, basically. And there's multiple stories, and it was hard just to narrow it down to a couple. But here at PlanView, our mission is to manage utility infrastructure and infrastructure data. So that includes anything from telecommunication, infrastructure poles, lines, underground infrastructure, whatever that looks like. All those are an asset. All of those have an XY coordinate. All of those are a record in a database. And in our world, it's a spatial database, but we do relate to a lot of other databases and have relational databases and partnerships between databases. So over the next couple of slides, I'll just show how we've covered massive automation gains using FME. We've leveraged FME to solve a lot of complex data challenges and have saved thousands of hours annually. We've also, using FME, have worked on a project where we were able to automate the process almost 95% and gain national recognition for that. So that was very exciting. Yes. So overall, within the company, we have a lot of operational impacts where FME has come into play. There's a lot of accessibility to data in the field, and FME has helped eliminate tedious data format conversions and a lot of manual work. Our pre-engineering and GIS processes have also now significantly increased in turnaround times. So we've created two different products. One called Multiviewer, another one is called DPRAT, not the best acronym, but it's a damage prevention risk analysis tool. So our Multiviewer application is basically used to consolidate all utility data across Ontario. It solves the critical operational challenge of disparate utility records by consolidating all data formats that we receive and is placed into the system into one single streamlined and easy-to-use platform. It ensures field personnel are always one click away from the latest, most accurate maps, eliminating the risk of using outdated information. So FME for this work and this tool basically converts all disparate data into a single standardized format. And the DPRAT tool basically assesses risk with a proactive data-driven strategy. It's a comprehensive risk assessment solution which transforms damage prevention into a proactive data-driven strategy. It integrates multiple data streams, including the precise geographical location and technical details, example, dig depth, equipment that's been used, the thickness of a transmission line, whatever it looks like. An FME constantly ingests third-party data into this tool to assess and attach a risk score of excavation projects. So key performance indicators for process turnaround times. Basically, this is the money slide for us. So we've saved over 1,000 hours annually on preliminary engineering requests, a massive productivity jump in processing infrastructure data. So again, those are anything from utility poles to conduits, manholes, road conditions, and different terrain. So we went from 15 to 20 days. So a process that would take 15 to 20 days has gone down to seconds and minutes using the FME tool, which is just phenomenal. On another project, we assist Ontario One Call, right? So Call Before You Dig initiative. We do a lot of work for them, managing all their GIS data in the back end, and we were able to automate 95% of that process. So saving a lot of time and money, not just for them, but for us. And we have a lot of data sharing initiatives with a lot of clients, where we've now been able to standardize how we share that data, and we've increased user satisfaction and ease of use along the way. So the Broadband One Window project, that was our award-winning project that we worked on with Infrastructure Ontario. It's now turned into a product, a platform, and basically it tries to simplify and expedite the complex permitting process for high-speed broadband delivery. Sorry, a bit of a tongue twister there. High-speed broadband delivery. The complexity, basically network providers have to navigate upwards of 400 different municipal protocols to obtain permits to be able to do their work. So the BOW tool has significantly sped up the review and approval of utility permits. It's provided a uniform platform where utility companies and municipal departments can coordinate their efforts and meet government mandated requirements and mitigate any conflicts ahead of time by comparing and using the data through the application. So FME's function in this project and within the platform itself has been very instrumental in managing data flow throughout the platform. It uses webhooks to instantly pinpoint the permit location and its boundary. It triggers email alerts to stakeholders regarding deadlines or new permits requiring action, and extracts and consolidates user statistics, submission numbers, and status for government-mandated requirements. So as a result, BOW has aided in transforming a bureaucratic nightmare into a smooth, transparent, and audible process. And it also contributed to us receiving a prestigious national award. So we like that part. So ultimately, FME has opened a realm of new possibilities for customer-centric service through innovation. With FME, we have automated time-consuming processes, delivering massive annual time savings. We have conquered the challenge of managing and standardizing data in various formats. And we will continue to be using FME to set the standard for utility data management and permitting across Canada and ultimately North America. And back to you, Don.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you so much,
Thank you.
Lena. We're both very proud of the award that you received, so
Thank
that's
you.
really great. So so just a few closing words. Choice, remember choice, because I guarantee you the systems you're working with today are not going to be the same systems you're working with in a year, 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years. New systems are going to come along. You're going to have to be able to connect to them, to work with them, and connect them to the systems you have today. So choice is really what all of our success. That's one thing we learned at SAFE. Will we be using the same specialized tools we're using now in 10 years? All of them, there's not a chance. Something's going to come along that's going to enable us to switch, and so now we're in a good spot because we've decided to protect our choice above all. And whoops, that was me. So just remember, locking onto a vendor, you're locked into what we learned is we were locked into their roadmap. Not ours. We were locked into their priorities. Clearly, many of the tools we were using were not their priorities. And last but not least, because we were locked in, they knew they had us over a barrel, and they could just crank the price for seemingly no reason, and that was. Whereas if you've got the architecture we have now, if one of the vendors decide they're going to crank the price, we can just swap out, that component, and it puts us in a much better position to have that discussion with the vendors. So dependency is not a strategy. It's scary. What we were was scary, and it was not cheap to get out of it. But we will never get back into it, I can assure you of that. And so just remember, lock-in kills innovation, and in today's environment, we all need this ability to embrace, new tools. I've been impressed with even the keynote where government's looking at new ways to innovate, to make things more streamlined. All of us need to do that. All of our customers are worried about how they're going to do that. And choice creates the ability to embrace new technology. So with that, thank you. Come to our booth, and we're happy to carry on the discussion. So yeah. So we have time for questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So are there any questions for Lena or myself? No? Okay. Oh, there's one over there. Yeah.
I guess I interrupted the delivery, but curious, because we've been to a few sessions, a lot of government organizations have legacy systems, right? Old stuff. So you're already a bit condemned to a lack of choice. So given that bigger organizations have multiple systems, multiple everything, how does that impact your thoughts on the choice?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. We've been around for 30 years, so fortunately, we probably support a lot of those legacy systems. So we can take that off the table and then enable you or the organization to figure out how you're going to migrate from those systems. There are some systems, of course, where the vendor has decided to really lock you in and create encrypted files. And those ones are, all you can do is lean on the vendor, and we can help you do that to try to get access to them. But we connect to a lot of legacy systems. We even know how to read old EPSIDIC files. Some of you in this audience you'll know what an EPSIDIC file is. We do hundreds and hundreds of systems, so yeah.
Hi.
There's a question.
Apart from having a really good lawyer who goes through your contracts with a fine-tooth comb, are there any common red flags you have kind of noticed that someone could look for to make sure that they don't end up trapped?
Was that for me? Sorry.
Either of you?
Either of you?
I missed part of that question, sorry. Can you repeat it?
Sorry.
So apart from having a good legal team that can understand contracts and look for risks, Are there any common red flags based on your personal experience that you would suggest people look for if they're looking to integrate new tools?
The legal one is for sure, and the age of AI is a big one. At SAFE, we're all in on AI. We allow everybody in the company is empowered to choose AI by department. We have, but everyone has to go through legal to make sure, where is the data going? Data sovereignty is a big, huge issue, so you got to watch out for that. And even today, a lot of people came around and they're worried about, okay, you're a data pipeline. Where does my data go? Does it always still reside in my area? So data sovereignty is a big thing. Anything?
Liability with the data. So just ensuring that if that data is going to be used for depending on the purpose it's going to be used for, you want to ensure that you're not going to be liable if somebody else were to use it. So just make sure that there's some good clauses in there around that.
I have another questions along the lines of vendor lock-ins, etc. So FME, if I understand well, it's a data integration platform, allows you to pull data, pipeline it, build your data streams, etc. So I'm using an FME technology with a proprietary language to build those data pipelines, right? So how can I avoid vendor lock-in when I'm building those pipelines? Do you support, for instance, developing my own notebooks, custom code, and run it and use your platform as like a vehicle to run this code, and then I can run it on another platform if I decide to part way from FME, or do I need to use your data pipeline tools with your own technologies? And
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Open standards are always a great way. So if you can embrace open standards, that's a huge thing. Even in the database world, we're seeing this open table formats, OTF. They could be Apache Iceberg or Delta Lake. I would say, yeah, because you don't want to be locked into FME either, right? Like FME should compete on its own. You should, pick that tool that, yeah, for this particular task, I'm going to use FME or FME because, we're a vendor. We got to be kept honest. And I would say embrace open standards wherever you can. We fund open standard initiatives. We work with open standards. But I think if you can embrace open standards, then that's the way. And then we could talk about why I think open table format is super exciting at the booth if you'd like. Yeah. So, yeah.
There's a question over there.
Thank you for presentation. One question, can FME's automation workflows be extended using open APIs or Python AI models to build customized and domain-specific intelligence?
Open API, we do support Open API in our latest release. So if there's an API that is an Open API compliant, you can simply drag and drop it and connect to any Open API system. Our data virtualization layer also creates an Open API interface. And we've had, there's organizations out there that define an Open API interface. And then you can share data that way, because then you're getting the latest data. You're not dragging and dropping files. So, yeah. And then there's really exciting technology coming out, Model Context Protocol. That's again going to completely change, the whole AI landscape. Yeah. Okay, we're out of time. Great. So great.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Thanks so
Yeah.
much. Thanks
Thank
so much,
you.
Todd. Amanda.
Thank you.